Then you've got hyper-local content, anything having to do with your local area, subdevelopments, market reports, listings, that good kind of stuff, schools, parks, recreation. Write about your passions, hobbies, or interests, and when writing about your listings, talk about the lifestyle, the goal, the dream that those features help them attain, as opposed to just the feature itself. And then, of course, lastly, we want to pay it forward or write topical pieces that are going to generate the interest or attention of our other members, so you can build some relationships with other members and hopefully, if you're a good person, garner some referrals. All right? So that's what to write about. For what not to write about, I'm going to pick on somebody again here. Just give me a second. Just got to grab my control panel. Let's see who I want to pick on this time. I think I went all the way back around through the list. Kathy, you mind if I pick on you for this section?
No problem.
And by the way, Kyle, I did get you off of mute now. I'll get you next. So, Kathy, so when you got into the business, did you ever get the speech about the big 3 no-nos, the 3 things to never discuss with someone?
No, I don't remember. What would they be?
Religion, politics, and sex, right? And abortion would end up probably smudged in between politics and sex, right?
Okay, yep.
But the big 3 no-nos, religion, politics, and sex. And the reason we're taught and trained to avoid those types of topics is because no matter what our position is, there's about a 50-50 shot the person on the other end of the table doesn't feel the same as us, right?
Correct.
So if you write a piece bashing Republicans, you probably just piss off half the room. Or if you write a piece bashing Democrats, you probably just piss off half the room. And it's okay to be religious. It's okay to be political. We're all sexual creatures, but it's not something that you want to discuss on your blog. Well, Stephen, what if there's a new piece of legislation coming down the pipe that's really going to affect homeowners or affect people in the business? It's okay to write about that piece of legislation that's coming up, right? But it's not okay to put a political spin on it. It's not okay to say, oh, those darn Democrats are screwing up again, or those darn Republicans are messing things up again, all right? So if you're writing something and you have to ask yourself, is this too political? The answer is yes. So when in doubt, throw it out, all right? Some other things that you want to avoid doing, ActiveRain is a social network unlike any other social network, okay? The key to remember here is as real estate professionals, most of us being realtors, we have a code of ethics to abide by. If you have not adapted the realtor code of ethics, it's something you should think about, all right? So we must, just because we're online doesn't mean we're not in the real world here, people. You can't disassociate the real world from your internet interactions with other agents or consumers. So interact with other agents and consumers the same way you would in the real world, giving other members respect. Never, ever bashing another member or insulting or harassing another member or consumer. Remember, you have the choice to either make your post public or members only. If you're going to write about a past client, don't use their name and make sure you make it members only, so that if that client should happen to stumble, they won't be able to stumble across it on the internet, okay? If you disagree with someone, that's okay. The basis of all healthy conversations usually start with disagreement. It's okay to disagree. This is how we learn and grow together. But do so respectfully. Just because someone doesn't share the same viewpoint as you doesn't make them an idiot. So please, if you're leaving comments on other people's posts, which I strongly encourage you to do, it causes what I call comment karma, which means the more comments you put out there, probably the more comments you're going to get back, because people see you, they see your picture, they see your name in that comment, and they click on it. They want to get to know more about who is this person leaving feedback on my page, right? And so if you leave comments, this is where a lot of people throw the ethics right out the window. So remember, when leaving a comment, everyone is able to see that comment. That comment is indexed by the World Wide Web if that's a public post. So if you don't have nothing nice to say, don't say nothing at all. If you're going to disagree, give them your viewpoint. Don't call them an idiot, and you'll be okay. Some other things to remember. Let me find someone else here to pick on. Paula. You with me still, Paula?
Yes.
Paula, I have a question for you. Have you ever taken a look at the cost to put up a billboard in your area? By the way, Rebecca, you're off mute now. Have you ever looked at the cost of putting up a billboard in your area?
Couple of years ago, yeah.
Yeah, what was it, if you don't mind me asking?
$1,000 a month.
Pretty steep pricing. I'm sure the more popular the area or the bigger the billboard, the more expensive it is too, right?
Sure.
Now, how would you feel if you went and you put up a billboard, I came up in the middle of the night and I spray painted my contact information over yours?
I think
You'd be ready for blood, right?
Yes.
You'd be ready to litigate or take me out. Well, this is the point. We've already learned that every post that we are writing is basically a billboard or a signpost promoting our business and our services, right?
True.
So please do not directly advertise your services in a comment on somebody else's post. It's very bad to do. They put up the billboard. It's to advertise their services. If you're going to comment, leave a meaningful comment that adds value to the conversation. Don't just copy and paste, hey, if you're looking for real estate in XYZ City State, give me a call, blah, 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 right? Not a good idea. The other thing is don't go and put a link into a comment on someone else's post, maybe like a link to your website or a link to a different article you wrote. Remember, their post is meant to promote them, not promote you, all right? So some other things that we definitely want to avoid doing, don't become the joke of the day type of guy, okay? It's okay to have humor in your posts, but don't become that guy. Don't become that joke of the day guy. And lastly, remember, if it's not your original content, you must check that box when posting that says, this is not my content, but I have permission to post it, so that we know not to give you points. Make sure that you're only posting content you have permission to post. If you're having troubles finding stock photos that you're allowed to use in your blog, those will be included in the notes and tools for today's class. Remember, you can get those notes and tools by sending an email to Steven, S-T-E-V-E-N, @ActiveRain.com. So those are some of the do's and the don'ts of blogging. And remember, this list of the 101 blog topics is also included in today's notes and tools. So now we know what a blog is, why we're blogging, why we use ActiveRain to blog. We know what not to write about, and we've learned some comment etiquette. Does anybody have any questions? Remember, if you're not on mute, you can shout out questions at any time. If you're on mute, please use that question center and type your questions into there.
Question.
All right, so let's take a look here. How do we create the orange Halloween bars on this blog? We're actually going to learn how to customize your blogs. You're going to learn how to do that in Wednesday's class. Okay, so register for the class on Wednesday. For hyperlocal blogging, would it be beneficial to create a matching targeted video? Yeah, absolutely. People love video, right? If pictures say 1,000 words, then video says 1,000,000. Yeah, absolutely. And you can embed those videos into your post on ActiveRain. You'll learn how to do that tomorrow. You got it, Karen. You're selling a lifestyle. Absolutely. That's the way to think. What's an appropriate amount of time to spend per day in the context of the real estate workday? Yeah, I know you've got a really busy workday as real estate professionals. When you're first starting out, spend about 15 minutes a day, okay? So read and comment on a couple posts, right? And then maybe work on a blog that you're working on for 10 or 5 or 10 minutes. So really you should be spending more than 15 minutes a day or, maximum 2 hours a week on this, all right, when you're first starting out. As you get more efficient at it and you start earning more business out of it, obviously you can dedicate more of your marketing time to it. But yeah, we should only spend about 15 minutes a day when we're first starting out. Can we bash other parties? No. Try to the whole thing here is you don't want to build up a persona online as someone who's always doing the negative piece. People get tired of watching the news for that very reason. It's always bad news, right? Give us something good. Give us something that's going to leave us with a warm feeling in our hearts. And ultimately, I would say, it's okay to share that war story every now and then, that negative war story about that horrible client. Just make sure that you make it members only. And don't build this persona as the person who's always complaining. People don't want to work with someone who's always negative. So try to balance it out, and if anything, I try to be more positive than negative. Are you covering SEO in this class? Yeah, it's actually the last thing we're going to go over, so stick tight. You may have discussed, but I'm new to blogging, period. What did you mean by points? So the more active you are on the network, the more blogs you post, the more comments you post, the more you put into your profile, the more points you get. The more points you get on ActiveRain, the more visible you become on the network in your local area, on the state's pages, as well as the front page of ActiveRain. So here, let me show you an example of that. That's actually a really good question. We basically use points to motivate you to do things that we know are going to make you more money. All right? So notice I'm in Kirkland, Washington, so the top members from Kirkland, Phil Lang, Greg, and Brian Perry, notice they're right here on this page. So anyone visiting ActiveRain from Kirkland, Washington is likely to contact them. Or on the state's page, I can go to the state of Washington, and I could go to the city of Kirkland, if I could find it here. And I'd also see them on there, and I've probably passed it, but that's me. So once again, here's the top members for the entire state, Stephen L. Smith and Paul Henderson, and then the other members run down on the right-hand side according to the number of points that they have. So the more points you have, the more visible you become in the area. For example, Charles Buell and Courtney Cooper are the top members for Seattle, okay, making them more visible to someone visiting the state's page. Great question. Doesn't it take longer than 15 minutes to write and construct? No, not if you do it little by little, right? Little piece here, little piece there. Or if you're doing what I first suggested, which is taking content out of an email where you're answering a commonly asked question and using that, it takes almost no time at all. What is the issue with posting your original content on a different blog? That's fine. That's fine. I would say post it here first, Kyle, so you'll get a good reputation behind it, and then send it everywhere else online you can. That's called content syndication, and it's definitely a good idea. Is there a forum online to ask questions of how-tos with technical questions? There's the ActiveRain newbie group. There's also facts. So notice if I go to the bottom of any page on ActiveRain, and here, let me just go to the front page. Okay, so I go down to the bottom of any page on ActiveRain. Help and Fact is a group where you can ask questions. You can contact us to ask questions. Also, if you go up to groups, there's a group called Newbies. If you have a specific question, why not write a blog post asking that question? Join this group called Newbies and then post it in there. And I guarantee you'll get lots of comments from people willing to answer that question for you. Same original content as e.g. copy and paste. You got it. Just write it on ActiveRain first, post it public, and then put it other places. If you have a team, can they write blogs for you as well? Absolutely. Will the blogs enable quicker points? The more you blog, the more points you'll get. You get points for up to 10 blogs in 7 days. What do points do? Once again, they make you more visible on the network in your local area. So now let's talk about what you have to do to get your content onto the first page of Google, keeping in mind this is called SEO, or search engine optimization. So you remember when I went to Google, I Googled Zero Down Loans Birmingham. First page, first two spots are my buddy Chuck Binzel, okay? I want to go to the older of the two posts, and if I remember correctly, I believe this was the first of the two. So Zero Down Home Mortgage Loans, Birmingham, Alabama, USDA. Okay, so here's the search term we used to get here, Zero Down Loans Birmingham. Here's the title of the post in blue. Does anyone notice a correlation between the two? If you're not on mute, just shout it out. What's the correlation here? Anyone?
Down Birmingham, Alabama, loans.
So, our search terms included in our title. Does everyone notice that?
Yeah.
Here's something to think about. Your search term is or should include, or sorry, your title is or should include your search term you want to target in Google. He basically told Google, hey, Google, I'm going to write about zero down home mortgage loans in Birmingham, Alabama, specifically the USDA loan, right? So now check this out. What if we do USDA loans, Birmingham, Alabama, or USDA mortgage loans in Birmingham, Alabama? He's still showing up on this page, right? What if we said zero down mortgages, Birmingham? Right? So your title is or should include the search term that you want to rank well for in Google. Numbers are kind of funny because notice